Welcome to the Dana Grant Show, where heart-centered stories, authentic connections, real talk, and real action come together. I'm your host, Dana Grant, and I believe in the boundless potential within each of us. Join me as we dive into transformative conversations that not only inspire growth, but compassion with a deeper understanding of ourselves and the world around us. Let's embark on this journey together, unlocking all the power within and creating a life of purpose and fulfillment. This is the Dana Grant Show, where your story matters and your voice is heard, and I cannot wait to dive in. Welcome to the first episode of the Dana Grant Show, where we explore heart-driven, compassionate, transformational conversations. I am so thrilled to have Amberly with me today, but we're going to get into that in a moment, because today we are honored. We are so honored to have her in the house. Amberly Lago, you are my people. Amberly, I'm going to tell you a little bit about her. She is not only widely recognized and helping entrepreneurs, and I would say helping me as well, but she is known for her grit and resilience, and I can't wait to dive into that. The Amberly Lago Show is recognized as the top #1 podcast, one of the top #1 podcasts in the world by Apple. I mean, congratulations on that. And I just can't wait to dive in deep. We've had a little pre-conversation of, you just feel like home to me, and I feel like I can ask you anything, and I want to know so much that I know people want to know about you. They know your story, they know where you've been, but I want to go a little deeper into not the shadow, but into your life and how you live it, and what, and the nuggets you can pay forward. So yeah, Amberly, deep breath. Can you share a little bit about where you've been? And then I'm going to ask some more specific questions, but I'm going to open the floor and ask you, hey, where have you been? What brought you here?
Oh, Dana, we were just talking before we started recording, and I was like, I love getting to be on a call with you. I loved having you a part of the mastermind for so long. And I was saying, I miss seeing you every week for our mastermind calls. And I was like, I know I feel so comfortable being with you and just getting to literally like kick my shoes off and be real. I'm like, I got a sandwich here on the table.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, I'm eating a sandwich.
Yeah.
I'm drinking my energy drink.
And I wanted to know if it was tuna. You know what? Now that you just said that, it's my first podcast show and I feel like home with you, but I did jump over that. You also launched and founded the Unstoppable Life Mastermind that I had the privilege of being part of, but it has grown exponentially. And when I said safe and home, you are my home, but I forgot to add that in. But it is my first podcast, so we get to do whatever we want to do here today.
Yeah, no,
There
oh
are no
my
mistakes.
Goodness. And I did not
I'm just
to
gonna
mention that in, but
No,
I'm
but
just saying it's so good to see you
yeah,
because
yeah,
I used to get to see you all the
I
time,
know, and I
and
can't wait to
I
share
haven't, and
everything
I
about
miss
you.
you, and I've told you how much I miss seeing you. Um, but when
I
I
miss you
get to
too.
be with you, I'm just like, ooh,
Yeah,
let me just kick off
yeah.
my shoes. I got no shoes and socks on. I got my little sandwich on the table, and I'm ready to unpack some stuff. And
Yep.
really, my intention is to deliver as much value as I can for your listeners. I mean, I know that the coach that you are and all that you provide for all the clients that you have is incredible. And I want to provide as much value as I can in this time that we have together. So
Right.
I'm an open book. And yeah,
Thank
I
you.
want to just deliver as much as I can in this time that we have together.
I love that you said that, because, I think I've listened to your podcasts. You've been on Ed Lamette. I mean, you've been on some of the largest podcasts. You've got your own #1 show, and you share a lot. But I want to go a little deeper with you, because you're right. I coach. I'm a deep dive. I want to know things that make Amberly tick, that keep you going every day, at not just the grit and grace and the pacer method. You've done so much. I could go right to the book. And by the way, Grit and Grace was, I read this book, what, 6, 7 years ago?
Oh,
Yeah. And did a book club on it. You spoke at my mastermind. We go back. You know, it's interesting the how we've crossed paths and we found ourselves here after you've encouraged me to do this for a long time, by the way. We're just going to add that. You said, "Hey, Dana, where's your show? Hey, Dana, where's your show?" Amberly, not only here's my show, but you are my first person I chose.
I'm so excited about it. I'm so excited you're finally doing this.
Oh, you know, I'm more excited than I'm probably it's just it's so time. And I mean everything has just been so guided, so God driven that this is where I need to be right now and you are the right person in front of me. And you know, and I think you're right. I think you have so many nuggets in your life and you've been through so much. And if we, you know, a lot of people know about your accident. A lot of people follow you on social media. They know the logistics and you know the nerve, you've got the nerve inflammation. What is that called, Amberly? It's just eluded me, the what you
Oh,
deal.
well, yeah, a lot of people, they think that the motorcycle accident was like the hardest thing that
Right.
I've ever been through, but it's actually not. It's actually complex regional pain syndrome
Yes.
is a nerve disease I was diagnosed with as a result of the accident. And so I wake up every single day in excruciating pain. And I
Right.
will never forget, some people were like, "Oh, you're still in pain?" And
Yeah.
I'm like, "Oh, I am in pain every single day."
Yeah.
Um,
And not that the world would know this, Amberly, because you show up, you know, your book is Grit and Grace. You show up with so much grace and kindness. I mean, I've been around you enough in person, behind the scenes, as a friend, hanging out. You show up with so much love and space for other people that you wouldn't know that you're suffering. And that's what I want to dive into because you not only did that, you have been through so much. You know, as I was reviewing my notes, the sobriety, you've overcome addiction, sexual abuse, the things that you've endured, and then the constant daily pain on top of it would take anybody down, but not
mhm.
you, but not you. You
Well,
continue to rise. You
thank
don't
you.
stabilize, you continue to rise, and you have a new book coming out. There's so much I want to share, but let's start there. Look at what you've done and where you've been, and how do you do it?
Well, thank you. I always thought I was so different. Let me tell you. Let me
Mm,
just tell you, I thought I was so different from other people in my family that had addiction problems. I was like, I'm a go-getter. I am all about like going after my dreams and success. And I never had addiction problems at all. Like I was very much career driven, success driven.
right,
In school, my go to was athleticism and doing
okay,
whatever made me feel good and empowered. And that was being an athlete, being a straight A student, being the top of my class.
right,
Um, it wasn't until, however, I was after my motorcycle accident. So I had a successful career in the dance industry and athleticism. I was sponsored by Nike. I
right,
had a huge career in training. I used to teach other entrepreneurs
right,
how to run their training business, and I loved it.
right.
But when I had my motorcycle accident and I had 34 surgeries to save my leg from amputation, and I could not get out of pain, I was trying everything to get out of pain. And I mean, Dana, I was trying everything and anything, every treatment. I
Right.
mean, every medical treatment. Eastern, Western, you name it, I was trying it. And I was even doing crazy stuff. If there was a
Right.
guy that's was like chanted over me and dripped oil on my forehead,
You do it.
I was doing it. Like whatever. I was like any snake oil salesman out there that was like, "Hey, I can get you out of pain." I was like,
Right.
"Okay, I'll do it. Let's do this." Nothing was working for me. And I got so desperate. And I was in desperation to be out of pain. And I mean, when I tell you I tried everything and anything, I was doing Eastern, Western medications. I was
Right.
doing ketamine infusions,
Right.
which, if you don't know what that is, I didn't know what that was. That
I do.
was basically, it's like a horse tranquilizer.
Yeah.
I was, and I had spent thousands and thousands of dollars on trying to get help and get better, and nothing was working.
Mhm.
And that's when I remember having a glass of wine,
Right.
and I had a glass of wine, and I remember thinking, well, this is not the healthiest thing to do, but if this is what I have to do to get through the pain every day, and if I have to have a glass of wine every day, then I guess I'll have to do it. One glass of wine led to two, led to three, and then I became an alcoholic. I
Right.
got sober um, July 2016 and took my, you know, got my life back. That, woo, talk about a humbling experience, being married to a cop.
Right. Right.
And he didn't even know how much
You were
I was drinking. And
how
it
long
took,
did that how long did that go on before you got sober? Before you said I can't do this anymore?
I spiraled down real quick. I spiraled down real quick. I would say I started doing it within a year. It got pretty bad when I was like, oh, well, maybe this is the answer.
Right.
I'll just have some wine. And let me tell you, within another year, I, I was bad, and I knew. And I remember going to my husband and saying, I think I have a problem. He goes, no, you don't have a problem. A lot of people that were dealing with as much as you're dealing with and live with as much pain as that you do, that you live in,
Yeah.
would drink. But
Absolutely.
I know deep down, I knew deep down that no, I had a problem and I needed help. And I think that's where the difference is because I think we all know in our heart and our gut the truth.
Yeah.
What's real? Somebody else can tell you something, but we know what's true for us. And I knew I needed help.
Right.
And I remember Googling 12-step recovery, and I found a meeting that was available when my daughter was going to be in school and when my husband was going to be at work. And I went to a meeting, and Dana, going to that meeting to get help for the first time was scarier than any surgery that I ever got rolled in on the gurney to go to some surgery. No, that was scarier than anything, was in the parking lot. I remember going, well, I guess this must be the place. I see all these women
Going in.
walking into this area, which must be the meeting. And I sat in the I walked in scared to death. I walked in the back of the room. I get emotional.
Oh yeah. I can feel it. I mean, I can feel it in my chest. I'm like, I can't even ask anything because I can feel this process of what you're going through.
Changed my life, but let me tell you, I sat in the corner in between a nun and a cowgirl. I'm like, what the hell? If I can be an alcoholic and be in the room
Right.
with another alcoholic that's a nun, like she was in a full nun outfit,
Yeah.
a
Owning
nun
it.
outfit,
Owning
and
it.
then a
She's
cowgirl. And I was like, then I guess I can be an alcoholic too.
yeah.
And so I heard hope in that room.
Mm.
And I did not stop going. I kept going back. And in fact, I'm actually I'm leaving for California tomorrow morning.
Mm.
And my home group is in California.
Right.
And so my main priority when I'm there, guess, yes, I'm going there for a good friend of mine. It's her birthday and
Right.
this and that. But you know my main priority for while
Is
I'm there?
getting that meeting.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
I've
look
got
at
my
you. Yeah.
old school
I love
book.
that. Oh, I love that. You've
I've
got it in a
got
hard
my
in a calendar.
meeting on Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday.
I love that you shared that part of your resilience because that's how you stay in your power. You found hope and you didn't let go of it. And I think your grit is about hope. It's about not changing circumstances, but you keep leaning in. I mean, even last year, maybe it was this year, you went to Costa Rica. I remember there was something hopeful, a plasma, that might help. And I know it was a terribly painful time for you.
Oh,
I can,
Dana, it's
yeah,
been hard.
yeah,
I was okay. So I went for a treatment that I was hopeful would
right,
help. I'd never done stem cell for complex regional pain syndrome.
right.
My husband was not wanting me to do this. And I was like, what? They're going to give it to me. Why don't I at least try it? It was so bad, I couldn't even walk. I ended up being wheelchair bound,
Mm,
and it has been a huge setback. And I feel like I am just now, and that's been months,
yeah, yeah.
but to be honest with you, Dana, it kicked my ass
I
hard.
remember. I mean, I remember seeing you and I remember you being and once again showing up positive. I'm in the wheelchair, but I'm heading home. But you really needed to reboot and reset how much you showed up in the world and how much you needed to take care of yourself, which brings me to the fact how much you balance in your world. Not only showing up in your full power, but you know, you show up for yourself first. I know you work out every morning. Tell me a little bit about your day and how is it Amberly Lago takes care of herself?
Oh, well, um, I
I know
you can
everyone wants to
see,
know that. Everybody wants to know that.
you can see one of the things that I'm doing first of all is like I remember used to when I was gonna do a podcast interview or be online or anything, I would be in my suit and makeup full done and hair full done. And now I'm like, you know what? No, I got to make sure I am done
Yeah.
and I am fully taken care of, and
Yep.
then I will show up. And
Yeah.
so even this morning, like I started calls super early this morning. Um, Erica Rothenberger, who's in the mastermind. I
Yeah.
love her because
Oh, she's a
she, sh-
fireball. She's a
she's a
fireball.
fireball and she is an early riser like me. So I
Yeah.
know I can start at 5:30 a.m.
Yeah.
and she will just be like,
Yep. She's on. She's
she's
on.
on. But I s- I started all of my coaching calls that I did this morning. I had no makeup. My hair was in a bun. I didn't I just showed up as me, raw, real. This is it. You know
But
what I
doesn't that feel
mean? But
good? Doesn't that feel good to show up? I almost think that's more empowering. Perhaps
I
we,
and
yeah.
sh- I tell you what, I showed up and I was like, "Oh God, I didn't realize I had a pimple on my face that looks bright red." I swear, I on Zoom, I was like, "Oh God, wow, maybe I shouldn't have showed up like this." But you know what? I thought for me,
Mhm.
I have to have my non-negotiables in place. And the reason I
Mm.
say that is because, um, gosh, 3 years ago, actually, uh, July 29th of this month will make 3 years ago, God willing, I will have 3 years of sobriety. I got my first sobriety date in um, July 16th of 2016.
Right.
And I lost my sobriety for one day. And the reason I lost it for one day, and thankfully, I had enough recovery in me to get right back. And I mean,
Mm.
that next morning, I called my sponsor and I was like, I screwed up.
Right.
And I started my sobriety over. And I don't take that for granted. But the reason I share that is because life got really good. Life got
Mm.
really good. Business got really good. Oh my gosh. In 2020, my career was booming. I was speaking nonstop, virtually a few times a week. Like it was amazing,
Right.
unbelievable. And I started skipping out on things that were non-negotiables for me,
Ah.
which means like, okay, so what is going to keep me the best mentally, spiritually, physically? Um, if I have to show up in my workout clothes,
I'm going to show up.
but I didn't skip my workout,
Right.
and I can still do the interview or the virtual summit or whatever that is. But what are the most important things to you? So for me, I had to really get down to basics of what what do you need
Right.
to make you um, feel good and rise
Mm.
up to your
Yeah,
best
potential.
self.
Do
And
you
so
think
for
do you think, Amberly, not to interrupt you, do you think that that's where your enormous not just love, but desire, and it's just part of your essence to connect. You're a connector. You connect people. You speak, everything you do is about connection. Your mastermind, connection. Unstop. Do you think that going back and connecting with your support unit, that is the foundation that has led to this massive connection in the world that this is why you're asked to speak all over the world. On the biggest
Dana,
stages.
it's unbelievable that well, it's not unbelievable that you're asking me this question because
Yeah.
actually I worked with brand builders and they worked on my branding and they were like, they come up with one word for you and they're like, we've got your one word for your brand. And I was like, it's going to be grit. It's
Yeah.
going to be resilience.
No, connector.
And they said, no, it's connector.
Yeah. I wrote it down
You're
in a box
about
and in my meditate. It's connector. You're a connector. and you connect to your heart, you stay out of overthinking, you stay connected to your group, you know what matters. You know what guides you. And when I said, where's your superpower and how do you stay in your power? You stay connected. You stay grounded in your connection. You stay, what's important to you is you, and I think you also see people's hearts. Truly, you see it because you connect there at a heart level instead of what might be the most important thing you can do. You actually feel your way through. This is what I need. This is what I need to stay connected, and that's what grounds you, I believe, to even write your next book.
Well, thank you. Thank you for that. Thank you
Well,
for
I
that.
just see you clearly,
Oh, thank
and
you
I
so
yeah, and
much
I
for
love
that.
you.
And uh I think that's how we connected, was at the heart
Yeah,
right away.
yeah,
Like there was just this heart connection, and I will never forget this, Dana.
yeah.
I will never forget. We were standing on the stage in Raleigh, North Carolina,
Oh, wow.
and
What a trip that was.
oh my God. And you said, Amberly, you're not gonna sell
Yeah.
me on your mastermind, are you?
Oh,
And
yeah.
I was like, no,
Yeah, I fly
I,
across the country in February, and yeah, no, you were just you. You just showed up holding space for everybody. What I did was I watched you connect. I watched you support. I watched what was important to you. And I thought, not only did I already knew you were my person because I flew across country and just showed up, but I decided, yes, I had to be part of and stay close to what I knew. I call it home, but safe. And I think that you're unstoppable mastermind women. And I know so many in there. There's such incredible women. They all feel a sense of safety to unpack and expand. We can't expand until we're really to release some of the things we're holding on to. And that's exactly, what I experienced with you and didn't even seek it out. I didn't know why I was going, didn't have any intention on, I didn't know there was a mastermind, didn't know any of that. But look at how that evolved. Look at how you connected and stayed connected. Even today, I'm not part of the mastermind, but still connected. You really make an effort. That grit that's in you knows where to connect and where to ground.
oh, well, you know what? I think that just having that connection is everything.
Yeah.
Like, man, and it can be lonely out there as an entrepreneur.
Oh yeah.
Like, it can be lonely, even as successful as you are and Dana. And I
Yeah.
know that you are just back to back to back,
Yeah.
nonstop with clients, and you are in such high demand. But still, we need a place where we
Yeah.
can lean in and we can go, hey,
Yeah.
man, I just need to,
Yeah.
whew, can I just kind of
Yeah.
kick my shoes off
Yeah.
and talk for a minute and
Yeah,
be
I just wanted to
supported?
be. I just wanted to be part. I wanted to be connected to something and someone who was like-minded, and that I mean, it was such a soul connection as well, but could hold space, and I didn't even know what I needed. And it's crazy. We're probably going to go over on this podcast, but you know what? It's so important to say that even the first when I joined, we did the day on the boat, and I felt so safe and so connected. Now, literally, I was 70 pounds heavier than I am right now. I go out on a
Dana,
boat with women that they're all fit, they're younger, but I showed up. I didn't hide.
Dana, it
Yeah,
makes me,
yeah.
okay, I'm getting
I know.
emotional again.
I know. Where am I got to get some that. I mean, it was a lot. It was a lot. It was a
Oh,
lot. Yeah.
Dana, that day I will never forget.
Yeah. I've never showed anyone my legs. And I just felt safe enough and I knew I was okay and I knew I needed to do it. And that was what was holding me back. Oh, wow. Whew. I can still feel how I was trembling and how I could have been judged and how I'd been judged prior by someone and I thought, it's time to tell the story and it's time to unpack this, or I'm never going to get
Yeah.
well enough
And
to show up fully.
and how many times did I keep telling you
Yeah.
you're hiding?
Yeah. And I'm like, oh,
You would
yeah,
start
yeah,
to share, and I'm like,
yeah,
but no,
yeah. But no, Dana.
no,
No, Dana.
that's not the story I want you to share. Let's
Exactly.
go deeper.
And you didn't even know what it would be. And I would prepare all over again and leave you those long messages, which you always listen to, took the time to connect and listen, which I don't even, I mean, it's just everything in your circle, Amberly's energy, Amberly's, your human experience. And, I think that I should probably be calling my podcast the human experience, because what I see is your human experience, how you show up, and so connected to God and so connected to faith. It doesn't mean we're perfect people. It just means you strive with this grit and this enormous grace around you because you make an effort to stay in your integrity.
Oh,
It, it,
well, you know what? I think
it matters. It
you
matters.
as long as you keep it real. And I remember there was like I said, there was a time I was so ashamed, and I was so embarrassed, and I had so much shame, and that heavy, heavy
Oh,
feeling
yeah.
of shame and what I had done. And I did not want anybody to know that I was an alcoholic, and
Yeah.
I was going to sobriety meetings,
Yeah.
and I didn't even tell anybody in my family. I hid it from my husband, Dana.
Mm,
When I first got sober, I was hiding it from my family, and
right.
I was going to meetings when I could sneak it when he was sleeping or at work, or
Right.
you know what I mean? I waited 6 months before I had a good 6 months worth of recovery meetings, and
Mm,
I had 6 months of sobriety where I even shared it with my oldest daughter that, "Hey,
right.
I just wanted to let you know that I'm sober." I didn't share it with anybody
Was that about
for
trusting yourself? Trusting that, hey, I've got this much of longevity and I can
I
trust to
I
share this, or
I think I wanted to have some meetings
yeah.
underneath my belt. I
Yeah.
wanted to make sure, okay, you really think you
This
can
is what I'm
stay
doing.
sober?
Yeah.
Let me just, before you're going to announce it to the world that you're sober,
Yeah.
let me just prove it to myself that I can stay sober.
Right.
Um, I was sober for 2 years, and I remember
Mm,
meeting somebody. They had come to my book signing, and they posted on their social media, "I got to meet with my sober sister, blah, blah, blah." And I was like, oh my God,
yeah.
it's out there
Yeah.
on social media.
Yeah. So
People
it's
know
out.
I've been sober for two
Yeah.
years, but they have officially, and this person had like 20,000 followers.
I'm exposed.
And I was just like,
Yeah.
oh my gosh. But you know what?
Mm.
It wasn't something that I would have done, but actually it was a good thing
Yeah, what a
because
gift. What a gift, because you no longer had to carry the weight of,
I was like, you know what? Shine a light on it. You
yeah.
know what? Yeah,
And
I'm sober.
and look at how many women
I-
you've helped. I mean, look at how many
I'm an
women you've helped.
alcoholic. I I have screwed up. I have messed up, and all I want to do is to try to be the best person that I can be
Yeah.
every single day. And that's why, like, I have the serenity prayer
Yeah.
printed on my wall over
Yeah.
here.
And
That's
it doesn't
why
define you. It doesn't define you. What defines you is how you show up every single day. And I mean, if I had a tracker on you, it's pretty incredible, how consistent you are, to your commitment of just staying connected to your health, staying connected to working out, staying fit, staying I mean, you can't claim being out of pain, but you stay connected to and open, staying open with an open heart to what is available to you. Which is absolutely for me, watching you, knowing how much pain you live in and how you show up and what you've been through is an unbelievable story of not just success, but of resilience at the highest form, you
Oh,
know,
thank
because
you.
there's so many people that stumble in the highs and the lows and life is not linear, and in everybody's life experience, joys an experience, pains an experience, all an experience, but it's how we take that experience and how we show up in the day to day, moment by moment, and present and the presence, and you always show up, and I think that's why I just had to have you on first, because it just is such a beautiful example of how life is messy, our experiences are messy. It's full of, I mean, we didn't even tap into half of the things you've done and you're doing. I'm going to probably add some after this is over about what you have done. But I did want to ask you this. If you could, I have two questions. I have a lot, but I have two questions I'd really love to know. That for women that are showing up, maybe entrepreneurs, what can you give them on how you show up and what you've built and this crazy ride of being an entrepreneur? What can you share with them if they're saying, "Hey, I want to be like Amberly. I want to do what she's doing." I mean, what's some advice you can give them?
Oh, thank you for that question. And you know what? I think it's important to really know what like I said, what your values are and what your goals are and what your intentions are, and not make excuses. Because look, when I first got started, I had nothing. I had so much debt. I mean, we had a lien on our house. We had
Right.
millions of dollars worth of medical debt from
Yeah.
my motorcycle accident and all the 34
Right.
surgeries that I'd had. And I think so many people want they want to take the easy way out. And you know what? I was like, I I don't know exactly what I'm going to do, but I'm going to figure it out along the way. And what can I do right now if I don't have a lot of money
Right.
and I just need to start? And for me, that was utilizing social media.
Right.
And I started thinking, okay, well, I don't know how to work social media, but
But I'm going to
by
show
golly,
up.
I'm gonna figure it out.
Yeah.
And the only time I have available to do it was like between 5:30 and 7 o'clock in the morning, Pacific time. And I thought, okay, well, at least 5 days a week, I am gonna make a commitment to posting and adding value at that time every single day because I
And you
had a
still
goal.
do. And you still do. You still show up with value. It's still so value packed. If anyone hasn't followed you on social media on Instagram, they need to do it right now. But you know what? I hear from you over and over. You're not afraid to make mistakes. You're not afraid to make, I always say, I love universal laws. You know this. Heaven loves speed. It loves us to make decisions. You make quick decisions. You're willing to make the mistake and metabolize it very quickly. What's next? And I think that your growth is exponential because of that. You're willing to show up and you don't show up, like you said, these days, I don't have to show up perfect with my suit and my makeup, but man, I'm showing up and I'm probably showing up more authentic than I ever have.
Mhm. Well, thank you. Thank you. And I
Yeah.
think that that's important. Like, know who you are and just own it.
Yeah.
And don't be afraid of it. Don't run from it. And you know what, Dana? I think that when you are in full transparency of who you are and everything you're about,
Yeah.
and all of your mistakes, and boy, have I made a lot of mistakes. I've learned some great lessons
Me
from a
too.
lot of
Yeah.
my mistakes. But when I fully own it, nobody can use it against me. I'm like, oh yeah, you want to say that
Yeah.
this about me or
Yeah.
that about me?
Yeah.
Yep. Believe me,
Yeah.
I know it.
I know it. It kind of takes their power away, and it actually, that kind of feels like freedom to me. It's like there's total freedom in taking full transparency and ownership. It's a weight when we're navigating a story that we've created for protection. It feels like your life has come full circle, and I'm hoping this next book is going to be about where you're at now and the joy that I see you living, even with the pain, even with the
Oh,
struggles, but
Dana,
yeah, choosing it.
let me tell you, this next book
I can't wait.
is raw and real. Like
Mm.
the introduction to it, I was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I'm actually writing this. And
Oh, I
okay, the publisher
cannot wait to
said,
get you back on and talk about this book because I know it's coming out this year, isn't it?
oh
Is
my
it
gosh,
2025 or 2024?
it's coming out March 13th. You know what's so wild? I thought the original date for the book was March 11th, 2025. Guess the date that it publishes, I could not have planned this. March 13th, 2025. You know, March 13th is my original sobriety date from 2016.
I was going to say, isn't that the 2016? I mean, look at that full circle. I don't
Can
believe
you
there's any.
believe that?
Well,
That's the
I can
that
believe it. There are no coincidences. Everything is guided. Everything is synchronized. Everything is, and if we really trust this process, every single thing you've been through up until this point in this big life has prepared you for everything that you're stepping up to because you're willing to step up. I have one final question for you, and it's something that I wrote down when I said I'm going to launch this podcast that I just want to know from everybody, but from you, I just want to know what Amberly, what feels like love for you? What feels like love in your life? What feels like love in your professional life? What feels like love?
mm, oh, what feels like love, being able to see you, and the moment I get to connect with you and see you, even though we might be miles away,
Yeah.
just feeling that connection and
Yeah.
oh, makes me emotional.
Yeah. I miss you.
That's love.
Yeah.
Uh, I think love is, my oldest daughter, she's in Africa right now. And she said, Mom, you're the only person that I trust to watch my dog for me. And so she flew out from Connecticut and we've been watching Tofu.
I know. I've been watching you
Tofu.
watch tofu.
Oh my goodness,
So
Tofu.
cute. How are you going to give up
That
tofu? How are you going to give up tofu now?
I don't know. Let me tell you,
I
I don't
know.
know. Tofu was going crazy outside the yard today. He was fighting off an armadillo here
Oh,
in Texas. Tofu's not used
I
to
I can see
armadillos
that.
living
Yeah.
in Connecticut.
Yeah.
Um, I don't know. I don't know how I'm going to give him up. Um, I think, love is when, man, we can fall down and mess up. And, when I screwed up
Mm.
and I called um my sponsor and I was like, oh my gosh, I really effed up. The first thing I did the next morning, I called her. First thing I did, admitted I screwed up. I said, I really screwed up. And she goes, what
Were you able to
happened?
forgive yourself completely in that moment? Were you able to release and just forgive
Oh
yourself
God,
completely?
no.
Okay.
I had so much shame. Oh my God, I felt
Fear.
horrible. I felt horrible. I was kicking myself
Right.
for a long time.
What
And
can you tell people around that, Amberly? I mean, I know this is doubling down, but when you went through that, and I know listeners, I attract a lot of addiction. I attract, and a lot of deep wounds. What can you tell the women out there right now that are beating themselves up when they fall and when they might make a mistake?
just get honest with yourself. Be honest with yourself, and you can get through
Right.
anything. But you have to be honest with yourself. I knew for me, and you know what? I didn't tell anyone, including my husband or
Right.
other sober sisters or
Right.
anything that, and what I did
Yeah.
was I didn't even go out and have a drink. That's not how I slipped. I had an old prescription for a pain pill, and I took one pain pill. I didn't get messed up. I didn't get high. I didn't get anything. I knew I took that pill for the wrong reason. And you
Yeah.
know why? I took that pill not because, yeah, I was living in pain. I
Yeah.
didn't take it because I was like, oh man, I just need to get this pain. No, I needed to escape. I needed to escape my mind.
I
I
am
just,
so glad you just said that, Amberly, because I think that is so important. What you just said, I had to get honest with myself because we know, well, people don't know. I had years of a prescription medication, and the line of, I mean, they never stopped giving it to me. I stopped, but the line between am I taking it for the pain or am I taking it for the emotional pain? I knew. I knew, and I tore up those scripts and I spoke about it the first time on your stage. I
yeah,
knew that
yeah.
I no longer, I had crossed the line and I was using it because I was in so much grief and emotional pain. I needed to get away from it. And that was the start of where I am now.
Yeah. And I mean, since you have really been able to shine a light on that, I feel like you've completely
Yeah.
changed everything.
Well, there's so
I,
much shame around it, Amberly. There's so much shame and judgment. And could I be the superstar and still have fallen and chosen that? There was a weakness attached to it. And I surrounded myself with people that judged me harshly. So what it did was teach me, they were only teaching me how to love me, how to show up for me, how to not abandon me. And when I understood that, because the world is always I mean, this is Dana's world. This is Amberly's. My world is all that really mattered. My experience with it is what mattered, not what other people said or thought.
yeah.
I can't invest in that. They're always going, it's always, there's going to be ugly people out there that judge. And you know what?
Yeah.
It's not part of my story.
Yeah. And you know, I made sure when this happened to me, I didn't talk to anybody else except for right away go first to my sponsor because
Yeah.
I knew
You had a chain of
that there
command to your
would be
safety.
other
Yeah.
people that would say, oh, well, you didn't mess up your sobriety yet. What?
Yeah.
No, you don't have to
Yeah.
start over. You've
You
got
knew
five
why
and a
you
half
took that. Yeah.
years
You knew.
of sobriety. And I thought, no, I know that I need to be able to trust myself. And for me to be able to trust myself, I had to come clean. Because if I didn't trust myself with that, what else was I going to do?
Right.
So
It's a
I had to
slippery
come
slope.
clean. And as much as it sucked
Yeah.
to have 5.5 years of sobriety, I mean, I was the secretary of meetings. I had positions at meetings that I had held for a long time. And to say, have to admit, well, I screwed up. But you know what? Gave me a whole new perspective and a whole other appreciation and humility, and I will never take it for granted. Um, and I treasure it. And like I said, I don't take it for granted. But yeah, I think that we got to get honest with
Yeah.
ourselves. That's where it starts. That's where you want transformation, then
Yeah.
take a good hard look at yourself.
Right. I think that's your connection and your relationship to being unstoppable is your honesty. You're willing to connect with honesty. I think that connector is right. You connect with honesty. You connect with what it is. Your willingness to show up for that is such a beacon of hope and light for so many. And it was for me. And it was so unexpected. I feel like, what is that movie, Under the Tuscan Sun, when she said, it's late in life and it's so unexpected. And it's like, it's so unexpected. The way you show up, it isn't, it's with so much grace and humility and honesty that it
Mm.
just, the door just opens. It just almost makes me want to cry right now. You've touched me so deeply today on just who
You've
you are
touched
as a,
me. Like
I know,
I'm getting emotional again.
I know.
But Dana, like
Yeah.
our conversations are always so rich every time
Yeah.
I get to talk with you.
Oh, yeah.
I love you so much. I
Ditto.
do.
Love
I
you
have to
too.
say, I
Yeah.
really do.
Well, and if I ever am in a situation
Miss
where
you.
I reach out to you, I'm going to leave you a message and I'm going to try to, sometimes I don't want to be positive, but I'm going to be positive, even though you see right through it and you're like, oh, what's going on? What's happening? But it's, yeah, you're that safe go-to connector for me. And I think everybody needs an Amberly Lago in the world.
Oh, I love you. Thank
I
you
love
so
you
much.
too. Thank you for being here. Thank you for
Uh,
showing up. Thank you for creating the Unstoppable Women Mastermind. Thank you for, and we're going to have this might even have to be a part two because there's just thank you for just so much encouragement, so much love, so much honesty. And this is exactly what I want this podcast to be for people to show up and be able to share so we can pay it forward and people feel less alone. They can feel connected to knowing there's hope and there's people out there that are like you.
oh, better like you. You're amazing, Dana.
You're
I am
amazing.
so, so excited about your
Oh,
show and all that you're doing, and so grateful to call you a friend. Thank you
oh,
so much. I love you, girl. I
thank you.
love you.
I love you too. And I gotta do this shout out because I didn't say how people can find you. What's the best way they can connect and find you? I know I'm looking at so much I wrote down, but I'm gonna let you tell us where we can find Amberly, what's coming up, we know your book's coming out in March of 2025, but what's next? Where can we connect with you?
Well, Dana, I hope that you're going to be
Try again.
coming to Dallas
Yeah, of
uh, in
course. You know I
April.
am. You know I am, girl.
I want to see you and
Yeah.
everybody else in
Yeah.
April, Dallas, April 25th and 26th for the Unstoppable Success Summit. It's our annual event. You can
Mm.
find me at amberlylago.com, more about upcoming events and the book there. And also, Dana, you're going to be on my show coming, aren't you?
Yeah,
When?
yeah. I think I'm not sure we've got it somewhere, but yeah, coming back into Dallas. But I'm beginning to love Dallas. I don't like that humidity, but you're in Dallas. So is the Unstoppable Summit going to be in Dallas again?
Yeah.
Oh, exciting.
Yeah, it's gonna be at
So
the Pittman
exciting.
Hotel. Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
it's gorgeous.
Next
So I
level.
just went and looked at the room. Oh, I probably shouldn't even be talking about this. I should probably be talking to you
No, no,
about this
this
offline.
is what we should be
But
talking about. We should be talking about this next level of
it
what you're doing.
is
Yeah.
gorgeous. So I just did the walkthrough. It's a boutique hotel.
Oh,
It's at the
I love that bougie
Pittman.
boutique stuff. I like that. I like that bougie
It is
boutique.
the most beautiful
Yeah.
room, sky high ceilings, big wide open windows.
I cannot wait.
I'm in heaven. It's amazing. And
I had so many
so,
clients that wanted to come to this last one. And you know what? This time I'm buying tables. They're showing up. I know people need to get in that room. People need to get in your room. And I mean, the summit was so phenomenal this last time.
It
So,
was,
I
the
mean,
energy was
wow.
amazing,
Yes.
wasn't it?
You know what? I'm still so connected. I've been on a dozen podcast shows since then. Just lovely humans in that room,
I mean,
like-minded, showing up.
Trent
It's
Shelton is speaking. Did you know that?
I
Trent
didn't
Shelton speaking. Oh, I can't wait to announce the speaker lineup.
I
We've
didn't know
got
that.
an amazing speaker
But that's a
lineup.
sign on who my next guest is going to be. But look at how everything is so connected. I mean, I
Yeah,
love that he's showing up and he's going to speak. And of course, why wouldn't he? Because he's so like-minded with what your mission is.
he's
It's
amazing.
and last time John Gordon, I mean, I love Rudy, I love Henry. All of those speakers just blew it out. Of I mean, just it was incredible. It's and I imagine this next time. You know what? I'll actually get to say that I've been to all of them. All
Oh,
of them.
yeah,
Because I got on that plane in February and went to North Carolina. I had no idea where I was going. Went alone, and this is what I want people to do. Take a risk, trust it, get on the plane, make the move,
yeah,
join the mastermind. Follow you and look at your story. There's so much available to us out there if we open our hearts
yeah.
and we're honest with ourselves on what we need. All right,
Oh,
Amberly. I love you, love
Dana,
you, love
you're
you. Mwah.
amazing. I can't wait to share this with my audience. You're amazing. I can't wait to have you on my show too.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, it's going to be so exciting in the studio.
Yeah.
Next level.
Yes. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank you. Thank
you.
you.
Bye.